What kind of thoughts do you have on addiction?
Well, I have a human thought, like the human spirit. Just where I'm at today, that connection. I do believe like we need to have dignity, respect for what is happening. We cannot ignore this.
Would you be interested in learning more about overdoses and taking naloxone training?
Sure, whatever comes forward to be able to support someone that's struggling, by all means.
I've been taught the only thing is when somebody ODs or gets alcohol poisoning is pretty much call the ambulance, roll them underside, and try to make them puke it all out. Or drugs, I never ever witnessed it or seen it, but I'm pretty sure like if somebody was to OD in front of me, I'd be a deer in the headlights. I wouldn't know what to do.
Have you ever heard of Narcan or naloxone?
I've never heard of them.
This is the naloxone kit.
Okay.
It's a drug overdose safety measure. There's 3 vials that come with the overdose. If somebody's overdosed, you take one of the vials.
Well, right now I work at Poundmaker's Lodge, but in different communities, in the healing field especially, it would be a good place. Those that are interested in healing their own people.
I absolutely do. I think so, because you never know. Like for myself, I would like to have access because I travel a lot. I had no clue about it, so now that I do, I'm a lot more interested in it.
All right, I'm Daniel Tomaszewski. I'm with Boyle Street Community, and your name is?
My name's Kyle.
All right. I just have 10 questions I'm going to ask you about opioid awareness. Question 1, has drug addiction ever affected yourself, family, or community?
Oh yeah, of course. Family, like I have a sibling who's very much like into that. She's like in and out of the pen, lots of friends too. Like I've lost a couple of friends to like fentanyl and other things like that. So yeah, it's had a big impact.
For sure. What kind of drugs have you heard about?
Probably the same ones most people have thought. There's the common ones like your coke, weed, molly, all that good stuff, crack. Yeah. But you got your new ones popping up like fentanyl, CBDs, like a chest.
Yeah.
My particular family situation that quite often mental health will lead to addictions, and that's a lot of what my experience has been. Only enhance the work that we can do to reach out to people who are under addictions. And I think the other thing we need to do is get rid of the stigma that's associated with addictions.
Have you ever heard of Narcan or naloxone?
I just learned about it today, actually, but yeah. It sounds like a wonderful thing.
Have you ever seen an overdose or been taught how to respond to it?
No, I haven't. No? Luckily.
Yeah.
It does touch home for me. I did lose my uncle about a month and a half ago to a drug overdose, so it's real. It's important.
A whole lot of people still don't know about, which they should. So not only are they figuring out what it is, they're figuring out what it's used for, how it can stop a whole lot of bad things that happen to them that they didn't know would happen. And on top of that, after you watch the movie, even before, you could learn how to save somebody's life while doing this. And I see nothing wrong with that. It's informative. It's something people need to know whether or not they want to, and the fact that it saves lives should speak for itself.
Have you ever been affected by yourself or by your family or by the community?
Yes. So I would, my story that addiction is something that has touched my family, touched my work, and I see that it touches the community as a whole. That sometimes your mind goes blank. You can get all the training, but then when the incident happens, you can freeze. Oh, yeah. And I think that's part of practice, and so it's really important that people keep training and keep reminding themselves, and for it to become a habit and an automatic response, that if they see the symptoms of an overdose, that they go into automatic pilot, because that will potentially help save somebody's life.
How do we find a safe place to discuss issues within our community? Yeah, where do we? If we don't, then where should we?
Yeah, I think they must be created. You know, I think it's a conversation and conversations that should be able to be had anywhere, kind of thing. And the reason I say that is because there's stereotypes and stigma that go around addictions and such, you know. But if you take into account that everybody has some form of addiction or another, then being able to freely have that conversation in the same way as like a conversation about how much you get paid versus how much I get paid, you know, kind of thing, puts us at a place where as a community we can address what needs to be done openly and gets rid of the shame. So those who need help can ask for help, and those who have the resources can freely give it, you know, kind of thing.
Safe spaces or spaces of every kind or shape, whatever community you want to reach, needs a financial support of our government to support our agencies, and even people like yourself with Boyle Street, people who are working at the street level, to actually equip people with what they need and the funding to develop these spaces into welcoming cultural spaces, whatever that may be.
Overall, I think this project's come along extremely well. It's great to see our young people so involved in taking their own leads and research and understanding how much this could impact our communities. Because we know firsthand how overdose affects people, because we've had multiple people from our community here, but also from our families back home on reserve who have lost young people. We lost family members because nobody understood how or what naloxone was.
Okay, well, let's clear this out to make a big circle. That's about it.
Big circle, make
Get it done.
Get it done. Get it done, guys.
Yeah, that's the sun right there. That's why you have gloves. Where's your gloves?
Yeah. What happened? Did you find out what it was? No? Well, your friends brought you back, eh?
Yeah.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear, my friend. When we come here, we pray for good things. For us, for our families, for our communities. You know? So just keep it up, bro. But I'm going to show you, so when we're picking our rocks, we're going to use 24 today. We always start off with our first 5 rocks, eh? The first rocks in.
So did you learn anything? Did you know what Narcan and Naloxone
I actually did know what Narcan is, and I understood the fentanyl crisis. I myself had gotten a Narcan kit a couple times before this.
You done some?
I've had to injection on somebody, but I panicked myself. Just because of I myself have fear of needles.
What's your advice to the workers and stuff?
To keep doing what you're doing, to be there for people when they need you, to give people, or well, youth and adults an opportunity to do something with their lives like they have done for us as a film crew.
The project, I just like being a part of it and then meeting new friends and, you know, just being part of the experience itself is what I like. No, not really. Just if you have family or friends who are users, please keep an Narcan kit and train yourself because you can save their life one day, right?
Perfect. You ever heard of Narcan or Naloxone?
No, I haven't.
No? This is the first I heard of it.
Okay, Narcan and Naloxone is the common drugs that, or common medicine that we use to snap someone out of an overdose.
Okay.
Okay.
I've never fully been taught how to respond to one, and I've never had to deal with one myself, but I know of lots of people who have had to deal with them. So
all right.
Better education would be better.
Yeah.
video and ask questions from community and people who've lived experiences and people who work in the system to get their feedback so we can try to open people's minds and break down stereotypes around naloxone addictions and teaching people about naloxone.
Been part of a production like this before?
Something close, but not really. It's like similar. I was cadets since I was 12, so yeah.
Should people who do not use drugs or do not use opioids still have access to the naloxone kit?
They should absolutely have a naloxone kit, and they should be trained on how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And their friends should be trained, and their friends should be trained. Everybody should be trained on how to use naloxone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just an inner city thing. This is an all over thing.
Would you be interested in learning more about overdose and or taking naloxone training?
Of course. Sign me up.
Sign me up, okay. All right, then that's good to hear. All right, how do we find a safe place to discuss these issues within our communities?
A safe place to discuss them? Just be open and honest.
That's true, yeah.
Right?
Straightforward.
Straightforward. I guess you could do it in a classroom setting, but I mean, you could also approach somebody with courage and kindness on the streets as well.
Yeah.
And see if they'd like to take the training.
Right. If not, just give them like a introduction or a pamphlet here, right? Saying all that stuff and what's going on in the community, yes?
Yeah.
I think that goes back to the whole stigmatization about addiction. The more that we talk about it with our friends, our families, our communities, and not just in our role here at the health center, the more we kind of spread the education and just talk more freely about it, I think that'll keep everybody safer.
Do you think people who do not use drugs or opiates should still have the knowledge and access to a naloxone kit?
Yes, I believe it's important. You never know. In my travels as a powwow dancer, ceremony guy, sweat lodge, sun dancing, I meet a lot of people. So what I'm saying to the people is we don't have to be involved to know about it. The more education that we share out there on what the kit does and what it's for, I think that's good for the public.
I had two of my friends overdose a few months ago in my apartment, actually. We were walking around by Bonnie Doon, and one of my friends had found a bag of dope on the ground in the parking lot. And we got back to my apartment, and I told them, take a little bit on your finger. You don't know what it is, take a tester. And my one friend did a line of it, and then my other friend did a line right after him. And then my one friend, it took him 7 to 8 minutes till he OD'd, but my other friend instantly turned dark gray on my futon and stopped breathing and everything. And so my other friend, he overdosed in the position of giving my other friend CPR while he was giving him while he was overdosing. So he was like kneeled on my futon like this, his face like just went down like this, and he turned dark gray as well. And I've had friends and family who's overdosed, but I've never actually seen it. So to be in that mindset, I could have gone, your mind's all over the place, And then so I made sure they were breathing, and I went to Boyle Street and to the youth unit and got all 4 of the staff, and we drove to my apartment, and basically, yes, I helped save them, but they also helped save them too. And it was really scary.
So this kit comes with, Logan gets shots of this. Yeah. See the naloxone here? And you got 3 syringes. So if one doesn't work, you give them another one. You take the syringe, you open it, suck all the juice out of here.
Yeah.
And then and then you give them to him in her muscle, in her thigh, wherever, and then if it doesn't wake up, you do another one for another syringe. Doesn't wake up, you do another one for another syringe. Hopefully they wake up by then.
Sure, that's awesome. Cool. You know what? It's better to have it and be safe and be prepared, because you never know when that could happen in your family or to someone you love, right? It's pretty simple to use, and you're not going to actually hurt anybody if you're giving to someone who might not be an overdose. But at the same time, you could be saving a life, and that could be our young people. That could be Daniel over there. It could be me. It could be someone older in our community as well, right?
There was 245 ODs in 2 months, and that was a record thing. Prior from last year was about the same amount of deaths that passed away in Vancouver, like through murders, ODs, and all that. But that was just through ODs and opiates, and that was in like down in Vancouver or in Surrey. There's a one strip called Tent City, and every 5 to 10 minutes there was someone ODing in that section because there's so much drug use in that area.
I'm alcohol and drug-free 40 years of my life, and I've watched in all my 40 years of addictions the troubles of our world today, that it's not getting easier for people, it's getting harder. And many times the loss and loneliness and unacceptance of who they are puts them in a position of wanting to do things alone. So if you put yourself in a position of being alone and you end up in a corner and you end up using some drug that's going to affect your whole being, that reality is you might die from it. So I think the reality is we need to figure out a way to create preventions. And I think what you guys are doing is creating an incredible prevention.
Yo guys, I think we just saved a life. Somebody.
Yo guys, I think we just saved a life.
Yeah, I think we did.
Holy shit.
Thank God for naloxone.
Bam!